My Slippers. I got to explain this to you. They are exclusive 3-tier cushioning system. It's like walking on clouds, right? We took the My Pillow patented foam, the one that you know and love, and they created a solid layer to provide incredible comfort. Don't forget to use the promo code Carter, CARTER, and you will receive 40% off of your My Slippers. Your whole family's going to love it. I'm actually feeling really great today. I'm feeling great. I'm feeling positive, even though I have been reading the craziest stories and seeing our nation, in some cases, take this weird kind of left turn to commie land, all brought to you exclusively from this guy. I want you to hear this clip because it's the best, funniest clip I've ever heard in my life. And I was laughing all morning listening to this. Listen.
And it brings together an unholy alliance frequently of
muckers, buggerers,
religious extremists, authoritarians,
bushwhackers, hornswagglers,
fascists, bigots,
horse thieves, bulldykes,
racists, nativists,
train robbers, bank robbers, ass kickers, shit kickers,
even libertarians,
and Methodists.
Could you repeat that, sir?
That was the great John Brennan parody in here, but that was really John Brennan in between everything else from Blazing Saddles. I just got to tell you, there is a reason I played that, and it's because I'm going to be exposing the craziest stuff on today's show. You do not want to miss it. And I have one of the best people I know on the show today. And I got to tell you, Tiffany Smiley is somebody that you do not want to miss because she is going to take on Senator Patty Murray in Washington State. Yes, we have a Republican that is going to run in Washington State, and she is not afraid to do it. She is willing to take on this longtime incumbent, this Democrat, to turn her state around. She is the wife of a former Army Major, Scotty Smiley, who was blinded in Iraq and was a phenomenal person at the time my husband, and still is, at the time my husband was blinded in Afghanistan. And really, their family has been so supportive, God-fearing, wonderful people that love this country. 3 beautiful kids, and somebody who I truly admire. If I was in Washington State, I'd be all about her campaign and voting for her. I mean, she's going to be incredible. I can't wait for you all to hear her story, hear what she's going to do, because we need some changes, folks. We need people that actually care about this nation, that aren't afraid to stand up and say, I love this country. I love our Constitution. I want to protect it. I love America. I love what we stand for, and isn't bashing it all the time like we're hearing from the left. I mean, they are just so negative and so backwards, and I can't stand it anymore. But before I go any further, I want to thank AMAC, the Association of Mature American Citizens. Today's podcast is actually sponsored by them. They are the only conservative alternative to AARP. So go to amac.us/Carter. Don't forget, go to amac.us/Carter and support AMAC, because they support us and it's what keeps us going. Also, I want you to go to SaraACarter.com, go to SaraACarter.com. And while you are there, please sign up for our email list. We will make sure to stay in touch with you. I will not allow this podcast, nor my website, nor the American First Amendment to be shadow banned by these crazy companies. We need you. We need to stay in touch. You are a part of this show. I don't want to lose you, right? And I don't want you to lose what we have to share with you. It's the only way we're going to make a difference in this country, is really to circumvent these wild, crazy leftist corporations and really work together to protect our nation. And we are all a part of that. It's not like we're sitting on the sidelines. We are actually a part of salvaging and promoting and creating a great nation. And that's why I feel so good about today's show, because I believe in once we expose the ridiculousness of the left, once we expose that, then there's no stopping us, right? Because we're exposing it. I mean, it's like, come on, seriously? First of all, I want you to listen to this. This is the new CIA. Okay, the CIA is the world's premier intelligence agency, right? We have men and women there who have given their lives, stars on the wall, fought for this nation, love this country inside and out. But we know that the CIA has had enormous problems. First of all, with John Brennan, who was the director of the CIA, incredibly, I cannot even believe it every time I say that a man that is seems to be so anti-American was the director of the CIA, and is constantly trying to undermine this country. But I want you to listen to this. I want you to listen to this because I truly believe that they revealed themselves in this new CIA recruitment video. And I'm talking about the left inside the CIA. I'm talking about the left in there. I'm not talking about the men and women that belong to the CIA who sacrifice so much for our country every single day. But I'm talking about the political hacks inside this institution. And I'm actually really nervous. Listen to this recruitment video.
Woman of color. I am a mom. I am a cisgender millennial who's been diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder. I am intersectional, but my existence is not a box-checking exercise. I am a walking declaration, a woman whose inflection does not rise at the end of her sentences, suggesting that a question has been asked. I did not sneak into CIA. My employment was not and is not the result of a fluke or slip through the cracks. I earned my way in, and I earned my way up the ranks of this organization.
What the heck? Intersectional? Cisgender? What is going on here? You know what I tweeted out? I said, this message was approved by the FSB, the KGB, now the FSB, by the FSB and the Chinese Communist Party. This is so embarrassing, right? I have anxiety disorder. I'm cisgender. I'm not afraid. I don't ask questions. I don't inflect at the end of a sentence. I am a robot. I am non-binary. Who cares? Who cares? Are you going to put your life on the line? Are you going to work hard for your country? Are you going to do what it takes to protect our nation? Or are we living in a woke society? Do you ever feel like you just woke up in a bad dream? That's what I feel like. I feel like I just woke up and I was like, wait a minute. What happened? What happened? Oh my gosh. I couldn't even imagine if my dad was alive still. My dad was a World War II vet, and woke was just saying you're not bored. We couldn't even say you're bored in our household because my dad would give you like a million things to do. And if you even complained about your clothes, complained about anxiety, whatever, my dad would find a reason to give you a job and you would never feel that again. It would just be like, oh my gosh, I will never say that again. I'll just go and, finish cleaning my room. Dad's not leaving me alone. Now I'm like plowing a field in the backyard or something, because that's what my dad was. My dad was a hardworking World War II veteran, a farmer from a farmer's family, and he just didn't have time. He just did not have time for all that. But he did talk about, the love for his nation and being a Marine and fighting in World War II. And my uncles, who also fought in World War II and then in Vietnam and in Korea, the other way around, World War II, Korea, then Vietnam. My dad fought in Korea and World War II. He did not fight in Vietnam. But their lives, what it meant to them to defend this country, to defend one another, to stand on principle. And what is principle? What is principle? It is what our Constitution is based on. When people start taking away your liberty, when they start ostracizing you, right, because you don't fit the woke standards that they set for you, when they start canceling all of your children's books and they want to burn anything that doesn't agree with what they think the world should be, then there is a problem. There is a serious problem. There is a serious problem. But all you had to do was listen to that CIA commercial to think for just one moment. And it was on the internet. I mean, everybody was talking about this on social media, right? I think more on the right were talking about it, just kind of confused about this commercial. Jack Posobiec actually put something that I actually thought right when I saw it. It's like, oh, they made it so obvious. They're behind the whole woke mentality. Maybe this was an operation. I don't know. It's just so crazy. We would have never heard a recruitment commercial like that coming out of the CIA ever. And in fact, for the most part, it's a clandestine agency. It doesn't do a lot of open recruitment. It does here and there, and everybody knows it exists, but it's a clandestine agency for a reason, right? There's a reason. There are enemies of our state out there. But then there were people in the CIA, and there are people in the CIA right now who were like holding out the olive branch to Iran, an enemy of our state. And now they're telling people, basically this big recruitment tool, if you're woke, if you call yourself cisgender. I was telling my husband, I was like, cisgender. He's like, what is a cisgender? Is it a Sith Lord? Is it a Sith gender? Are you what? What is it? I don't know. I don't know. It's all new words. Maybe I'm old. I don't know. But I think it's just way too complicated. It's way too weird. It's way too complicated. We could be hip. I don't care. I don't care if you see yourself as a woman, as a man, or whatever. You can be anything you want to be. This is America, for crying out loud. It's not my job to tell you how to live your life, but don't tell me how to live my life. Don't tell me how to live my life, right? The same way, as long as we don't cross over each other's, AO, your area of operation, as long as I'm not interfering with your life, and you're not breaking any laws and you're not a criminal, then I think we're all okay. But this is insanity. This is insanity. We have Hunter Biden teaching a class at Tulane. So crazy. A guy with all kinds of porn and drug addiction problems and stuff on his laptop in the center of a big controversy. By the way, getting a ton of money from foreign countries like Ukraine and China. Enemies of the state. Yeah. He's not being investigated. He's teaching a class. He's teaching a class at Tulane, or speaking there. And you got Rudy Giuliani, whose entire apartment's been turned upside down, inside out by the FBI, right? Political weaponization of our Department of Justice. That's all this is, folks. I'm telling you, no matter what, there is no way that foreign enemies of the state, because China is not our friend, by the way, gives a ton of money to Hunter Biden, and nobody investigates this. Nobody investigates his laptop. Nobody investigates the fact that he is the son of the president of the United States of America. They could never find any evidence that showed that the Trump family or that President Trump himself was connected to Russia in any way, shape, or form that would have made him a problem or a Manchurian candidate. We found out their lies. We exposed them. But we could see clearly a pattern with Joe Biden's family. And nothing, not an investigation, not nothing. Hasta la vista, baby, you're fine. But guess what? Rudy, we're going to shake you down. We're coming into your house. And then we're going to go after my old colleague, John Solomon. And we're going to collect journalists' emails, private emails. We're doing it through Rudy's office, but we're going to collect all of them. And we're going to go after John Solomon, Sarah Carter, a priest, a nun, your doctor. We don't even care anymore about the Constitution. That's just some old stuff made up by a bunch of old white guys a long time ago. Just ask anyone now. Just ask any of these professors. They do not care. They do not care. But we're going to slowly expose them and the craziness of their ideas. I love this. I want you to hear this sound right now. This is a woman. She is shutting down the Black Lives Matter narrative. She is going after Alyssa Milano on this, and it is absolutely incredible. I love this lady because this is exactly how I feel about all of these so-called limousine liberal white people and anyone who believes in them. But these limousine liberals that want to turn around and act like they're helping us poor Latinos, us poor Black people out of the ghetto, and like we don't even have a mind, right? So I want you to listen to this. Listen to how this woman just shuts Alyssa Milano down.
Those of us who are not Black men Imagine watching the news and seeing how people...
Imagine being a black man and being told by some white lady with a microphone that you and the criminal on TV are one and the same because you look alike. Imagine being told by society that white people can be all that they can be, but you as a black man, the content of your character is completely irrelevant. You are the color of your skin and that is all you will ever be. Imagine being told you can't figure out how to vote because of the color of your skin. Socioeconomics affects everyone, but apparently you're not as smart as the poorest white person. Lady, I don't want to hate you. I'm a 90s kid. I grew up with you. So I know you're very talented. I understand your heart is in the right place, but you are everything you preach against. You're not helping. You're making things worse. You're causing more division. You're causing more fear. Statistically speaking, I am more likely to be shot and killed by my black elderly neighbor across the street than the cop who patrols my neighborhood. Statistically speaking, homicide by cop is very rare, but people like you find power in fear, so you keep it front page news. You don't have to be a white supremacist. You can be better.
Wow, wasn't that great? That's amazing. You, Alyssa Milano, don't have to be a white supremacist. You can be better. I wonder what Alyssa Milano was thinking when she heard that. She was probably like, oh no, somebody thinks I'm a white supremacist. You know what, Alyssa Milano? You have done that. You deserve this because you actually called people out forever. Innocent people. You trash them on your Twitter account. You think you speak for everyone. Nobody needs you to speak up for them. No, we really don't. We really don't. You know, what happened to the day where we could, actually just talk about ideas, but then not be overwhelmed like with sports. Like every time I turn on TV, I have some actor telling me what I should think, how I should think it, what I should do. No, I don't want to hear that anymore. What about sports? Like, my husband, my poor husband, Marty, loves baseball. He loves it more than anything, loves to listen to it. He's blind. It's like the best sport ever. Like he puts in his headphones. He disappears for a while. He loves American baseball. He has not even really paid attention to it at all because of what has happened with the MLB. He is just like, and it makes me so sad. He doesn't even want anything to do with it because it's so politicized. It's so wrong. It's so wrong. I remember when I was younger, and I was a reporter with the Daily Bulletin, and I was so frustrated. And I remember, that George Bush, here's a Republican president, right? Would say this. Jenny found the clip. Let me play this clip and then I'll explain what was so frustrating and wrong about this. Listen to this.
You cannot fully enforce the border so long as people are trying to sneak in this country to do jobs Americans aren't doing.
Jobs Americans aren't doing. It's the same story over and over again. But who the heck told President Bush, or for that matter, President Biden, or for that matter, President Obama, and if President Trump ever said it, for that matter, President Trump, that Americans aren't doing the jobs? Americans will do anything to feed their families. Americans worked in cotton fields too. Yes, my family, my dad's family, they were actually cotton pickers. Yes, they were. I remember hearing stories about that. My grandmother and my grandfather, even during the Depression, they talk about their hands bleeding, from being out there and picking cotton. And people that work in, let's just talk about simple things like our kids mowing a lawn. I remember in California when it started to become kind of like, oh, I don't want to mow a lawn. That's not a job for me. My mom is from Cuba. I lived in a Latin community. After my dad died, it was a poor community. There were people from El Salvador, Guatemala, everywhere, just Nicaragua, wherever, Honduras, Cuba, wherever in our community. And there were also Caucasian families, longtime American families that were there. Their kids, we mowed lawns, right? But it wasn't just a job that Mexicans would do. Think about the racist undertones of all of this stuff, from Alyssa Milano to President Bush. Like, people can't make up their own minds, make their own decisions, decide what they want for their own life. Not every Cuban is like Scarface, right? And that's what that young lady was telling Alyssa Milano. Stop speaking for me. Not everybody who is black. And by the way, my great grandmother was from West Africa. Hello? We are all made up of so many different people. We have so many different histories and so many different lives just coursing through our veins. And it's just wrong that we have a government and lawmakers that are dividing our nation with this propaganda. That's what it is, folks. Don't listen to it. Don't let them divide you. Don't think when you go out that everybody thinks like Alyssa Milano, or that everybody thinks like, for crying out loud, for like John Brennan, you know, that guy, whatever. We don't think like that. We are all individuals. We all make up our own minds. We all make up our own decisions. That's what makes our nation so great. That's why we do what we do, right? That's why we fight for this country. That's why our young men and women put everything on the line. That's why we did. We don't want to change that. We don't want to change our Constitution. We don't want to change who we are. You and I both know that. We just want to make it better. We want to make it better for our children and for the future of our children. Before I get to Tiffany Smiley, because she is amazing and she is a great representation of what this nation is and all the good things in it. And she's going to be running for the Senate. I'm so excited against Patty Murray. We needed someone with the courage to do that. But before I get that, I have warned you all about title theft. I've warned you all about title theft, right? Where cyber thieves come in and they remove you from your home's title and then they become the owner of the house. I said, you better get home title lock because it's coming. Well, if you're on Facebook, that big breach is here. Facebook had at least 500 million accounts exposed to cyber thieves. And according to a retired FBI cybercrime expert, everything thieves need to take over as the new owner of your home was leaked. Your name, your address, your personal information, it's out. The thief forges your signature on a quick claim deed stating that you sold your home to them. He'll leave you in debt or even have you evicted. Can you imagine being evicted from your own home? Do what I did and protect your home's title with Home Title Lock. Go to HomeTitleLock.com and register your address to see if you're already a victim. Then sign up for 30 free days of protection during this high-risk breach. Again, go to HomeTitleLock.com and use promo code RADIO, RADIO. That's HomeTitleLock.com, promo code RADIO. And without any further delay, I'm so excited to bring Tiffany Smiley on. She's a candidate for U.S. Senate. She's a wife to our great friend, Scotty Smiley, who was blinded in Iraq in 2005. I want her to tell you her story. She is a mom to 3 beautiful boys, and she's a veterans advocate and a former triage nurse. This woman just has everything. And now she is going to run against Patty Murray. Without any further delay, let me bring on Tiffany Smiley.
Hello, Sara. So good to see you.
Oh my gosh. Tiffany, we did not plan this. I had no idea you were going to be wearing a jean jacket. We are so married.
It's Monday.
This is Monday. We're both in our jean jackets and we both have blind husbands. I don't even know. Wait. Is that weird? No. I have no idea.
We're speaking the same language. We're on the same vibe.
Yeah, we really are. I can see you're crying. You're laughing so hard. Scotty's going to get a kick out of this. So is Marty. I'm so excited that you're going to be running for Senate and you are being supported by some great veterans groups out there. You've done so much for our veterans. You never told me, though. You were so good at keeping this. I think you were debating back and forth, but I remember you saying, oh, I might have some good news. So tell me what happened. Fill me in on all the details.
Yes, thank you so much for having me on your show. You know, a few months ago when I was in DC advocating and working and you almost got it out of me, I've been working on this for a long time because I am committed to the future for our country. You know, our family has skin in the game and we have served and sacrificed along with thousands of families like ours. And I refuse to sit on the sidelines and watch my children's future be diminished. You know, I always say I am running for the United States Senate in Washington State, challenging Patty Murray, because I want my 3 sons to have a country worth fighting for in their future. So it is time. Patty Murray has been in office for almost 30 years. She has forgotten the struggle. She has forgotten to represent the people in Washington State, and she has put Washington, D.C. ahead of Washington State. And
that's so important, Tiffany, because I think that's what a lot of people are feeling now, right? They're feeling like the senators, the lawmakers, they're putting basically themselves ahead of the people, ahead of their constituents. And she's been there for I'm not saying that she hasn't, been there for 30 years, that she hasn't served her country, but really the people of Washington State need something different. What makes you think they're going to say, okay, see you later, Patty Murray. Welcome home, Tiffany Smiley? What's going to get them to say that?
It is time. And here's what will get them to say that is we've all struggled over this last year. I don't care where you stand on the spectrum, socioeconomic, small business, children, women. We have felt the pain of bad policy. All of us have. And it is not getting any better. No one is standing up and leading. Sure, we have politicians, but we do not have leaders who are standing up. And look, if anything, if this last year has shown us anything, is that life is happening at lightning speed. And things that can't be taught are integrity, that are inherent, values, honesty, and commitment. And people are ready for trusted leaders to be their voice for their future. And I know that is what will turn the tide here in Washington State. I am ready to be that voice.
That's so awesome. That's so great because you guys can't understand. I didn't know what she had going on, but I didn't expect it to be like the Senate run. I didn't expect it to be like, I'm going to take on Patty Murray and I'm going to run for Senate. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I'm thrilled. That's a huge undertaking. It's a huge undertaking. I want people to know who you are, Tiffany. I didn't want to tell your story. I believe it's important for you to tell your story because you and I always, and I have said this many times, that the book that your husband wrote, Hope Unseen, and what you and your family have been through really were what gave me strength when Marty was blinded. And, and I thought to myself, wow, I looked up to you. I looked up to the fact that I know it's tough and I know it's hard, but we can get through this, and with faith, we can make this happen and our family can be stronger for it and we can move forward. Guys, she truly is the mom, the wife. I know this. Everybody has skin in the game and sometimes people forget the families. And especially our military families. So I want you to tell people what happened with Scotty, how it happened, and how you represent and advocate for veterans' families.
Yes, I was born in a small farm town. I was just a farm girl that really came from nothing, sold cherries on the side of the road to buy my basketball shoes. And in junior high, I met Scotty Smiley. And I always joke that when we got married, he had graduated from the United States Military Academy and I was a nurse. I always wanted to be a nurse. So I had my bachelor's in science and nursing. And it was a picture of the American dream. Our new last name was Smiley, for crying out loud. And he was a military officer and I was a nurse. And that all came to a crashing halt on April 6th of 2005, 16 years ago this month. I was at Walter Reed, facing a devastating, hopeless situation. I was working as an urgent care nurse and I received a call that, military spouses, families dread. And it was someone else's voice on the other end of the line while Scotty, had been serving in Iraq. And they said, Tiffany, Scotty came face to face with a suicide car bomb. One thing we know is he lost both of his eyes. The other thing we don't know is if he's going to survive. And this strong leader just broke down and started sobbing on the phone to me. And that's when our American dream blew up into a million pieces. And I did two things that day. Number one, I resigned from my nursing job. And number two, I took a one-way flight out to Walter Reed Army Medical Center, hoping that Scotty would arrive in Andrews Air Force Base alive. I didn't know. Gosh, I had student loan debt. I had a car payment. Now I had no job. And I walked into a husband who couldn't see, had no eyes, and was paralyzed, couldn't even get out of bed. He's paralyzed on the right side of his body. And I walked in that room every day and spoke truth, hope, and life because I believed that this country had to be more than what I was walking into every day, that our sacrifice had to mean something. And so I believed in that vision more than I believed in anyone else's doubt in that moment. And I had walked in and told Scotty he would never see again. That same day I was brought into a room because I had power of attorney to sign his medical discharge paper. And I said no. I told them I'm not signing it. They didn't know this, farm girl from Washington State, that grit, that vision that she would bring to the table. But I truly believed in it with all I had, because that was all we had. That was all Scotty had, was someone who offered him another perspective. And so I said, no, I'm not signing it. And they pushed it in front of me a little bit further. And they said, Mrs. Smiley, I don't think you understand. Your husband has no eyes. There's never been someone to continue service with no eyes. And I wasn't just standing up for Scotty. I was standing up for thousands of families. I was standing up for you, Sara, and Marty, that, and I think it was a year later, we're having to deal with a lot of the same things. And I knew that our country needed something more. And so I wasn't afraid to do it. I built a coalition around me who believed in that vision. And we would go on to serve our country for a whole nother decade. Scotty became the first blind active duty officer to continue service to our country, and moved 8 times in 10 years and had 3 beautiful boys born all over the United States. But I think, also I share this story because I love this country so much, so much. And I always say, in what other country could you stand up to the government to advocate for something better and see it happen and see reform happen? There is no other country that we can do that in, and we have to preserve that freedom that we have here.
Right. And you did that.
Yeah,
yes. You did that, Tiffany, because you actually were coming to Washington, D.C. And you're right about, I learned so much from you. I became an advocate for my husband, and I did that. Guys, listen, I did that because somebody else had to walk that walk before me. And then somebody walked that walk before Tiffany. We all, learn from each other. And she wasn't afraid to stand up. And I said, I'm not going to be afraid to stand up either. I'm standing up for Marty. No, you're not going to do this. No, you're not going to do that. No, I'm going to stand here and fight for him, even if he can't see or he doesn't want to talk right now, or he threw every nurse out of the room one time. I remember that. That was interesting. He's like, get out of here and get me my wife. Get me my wife. And I know what that's like. And I know that you did that for veterans. You came to Washington, D.C. during President Trump's administration. Talk a little bit about that and what you did.
Yeah, our fight didn't end, right? It's a continuous fight. And I say my fight in what I'm doing today started 16 years ago. And as we transitioned out of the military, I saw the problems within the VA. And I thought, this is absolutely unacceptable. So I took our message all the way to the White House. I took it to the Senate. I took it to Congress. I would come back and knock on doors and say, just, can we work together? This is something that needs to be brought to the table, because, if our country is going to be great, we need to ensure that we are giving our soldiers, our men and women who volunteer to fight for our freedom, the best resources, the best care, the best opportunity, and the best livelihood to thrive. Right? At post-service, post-injury, that they come back to a country that's ready to give them the best opportunity. And so we took that message all the way to the White House. People told me, Tiffany, you're wasting your time. You're not going to change the VA. It's impossible. And I said, watch me, join me, come along with me. We won. We did it. We enacted customer service training and care within the VA, something that had never been done before. Cut back the red tape, right? Cut back the red tape on a lot of the grants that are due to our service members when they come back post-injury. And the accessibility to timely care close to home. I mean, these are given
That's
things.
Huge. That's huge. And a lot of people don't realize that. A lot of our servicemen and women, they get injured. Sometimes they have to go 40 miles away. They're not even close to home. They can't even get to a hospital in their area. And it makes it impossible for them to get the service that they need. And that change is huge, Tiffany. Congratulations. Thank you so much for what you've done for all of our servicemen and women in Washington State. You're all dealing with a very different set of circumstances in Washington State. I mean, we've seen it in Washington, we've seen Oregon, California. I mean, you're running as a Republican. I don't think there's any challengers, right, to you right now in the Republican side. So we're just
launch strong.
You're there. You're only running against yourself, guys. She is awesome. And now she's going to take on the Democrats. Do you feel you got all the support you need from the Republican Party? One. Two, what is going to be different about your platform? What are you going to do for your constituents? What are you going to tell them, especially those that are maybe more to the center, independents that'll be like, hey, I don't need to vote for Patty Murray because I've seen her name there for 30 years. I can vote for somebody different.
Yeah. Well, number one, I will say this race has national implications because we have a 50-50 Senate. So look, while some might treat me as an underdog, it's the only path I know. So I love being the underdog because we win. We fight and we win.
I like that.
And so, in 2022, Washington State could very well be the seat that flips our Senate. And that has huge implications for our country, massive implications. We are helpless as people if we do not have leaders representing us as elected officials. So I am ready to be that voice. People can come join and help me. This is not just a Washington State campaign. This is a national campaign. This is about what we can all do collectively for the future of our children and our grandchildren. Anyone can visit smileyforwashington.com and join us. And look, I've been talking to independents across the state and they are excited. They are energized because we are a family. My family and I are a family that have been affected by bad policy. And we didn't just stay there. We went and did something about it. Mm-hmm. And so right now, a lot of people in Washington State are being affected by bad policy. You see the homelessness, right? You see small businesses being destroyed in Seattle area across the state because of the restrictions from COVID that are just not common sense. There is no common sense being talked about. And people are on the receiving end of these bad policies. We have children who have been out of school for over a year, a lot of them with no access to broadband internet. I mean,
it's crazy. I don't even understand it.
United States of America.
Right. It's completely upside down, Tiffany. It's completely upside down. And you're absolutely right. This isn't just about Washington State. We've all seen this type of policy that is coming from an administration that is not really listening to the American people. And I don't care if you're a Democrat. I don't care if you're an independent. I don't care if you're a Republican or a Green Party member. There's no way that you can look at this and be like, oh, that's good. That's okay. I'm okay with that. And I feel that some of these policies are meant to not allow people to move forward. They're basically holding back Americans. And I think that is what really frightens me the most is like, are we fundamentally changing without even knowing it? We're going to wake up one day and be something completely different, or are we going to fight, right? To what your dream is to give back, is to be independent and save our country. I mean, I think you've got a point there.
Yes. And look, when I always, when I'm out talking to people, I say, anytime you hear a politician tell you something is free, they're lying to you. And let me break that down for you. The greatest national security threat, I believe, to our children is the national debt. We are becoming more and more dependent on China. We are crushing our small businesses. We are spending, across the board. We are not focused. We are not running our government like a business.
Right.
And that has real implications. And so that is what I'm standing. I'm talking to independents every single day. And they agree with me. They say, Tiffany, we are with you because you're common sense. You know the effects of bad policy. And we believe that you can create policy that helps and raises up, right? A rising tide will lift all boats in Washington State. And we believe you are the person that can do that.
You're not only going to be lifting up all boats in Washington State, but it looks like you're going to be lifting up all boats across the United States. Where can we go to actually you said we could go to your website to help you out. Anybody across the nation that wants to be part of this rising tide, you want to lift up all these boats across the United States, where do they need to go, Tiffany?
Yes, join me at Smiley for Washington, all spelled out, smileyforwashington.com. You can check me out on social media, Smiley for Washington. It is time, and it is going to take us all. But I have no doubt. I believe in the fabric of this country, the goodness of people. I am here to add I am here to add. And it's exactly what you're talking about earlier, Sara. A lot of politicians right now are pandering to that partisan division, and they are gaining because of that. And it's a lie, right? We are more alike than we are different. We are great. America is full of incredible people. I am talking to them every day. And there is a swell in Washington State from the ground up that is ready for something different across the nation, I believe. We need truth, we need hope, and we need life. And I am speaking that every single day into Washington State and this nation.
Thank you so much, Tiffany. You're amazing. I can't wait for us to hang out. You got to come to Washington, D.C., we got to get you here first, but I'm going to bring you here even before the run, right? Even before the election. And then we're going to go out and have lunch. We should do like a podcast lunch with Smiley and Carter, like out here in Washington, D.C. and talk out all the issues that your constituents and people across the country want to know. Because I think your voice is so important and it's so great. We need another woman in the Senate like you, a great, somebody who's willing to fight and do what's right. So thank you so much, Tiffany. And tell Scotty we say hello. I can't wait to see you all.
Thank you, Sara.
Thank you. So Tiffany Smiley, I'm going to be bringing her back on the show again and again. I think it's so important. She is such a great advocate for veterans' families and for veterans in general. And just her work has been extraordinary, as well as her husband, Scotty Smiley. I'm going to beg him to come on the show too and get him on the show. I think that's just that important because we need more people to expose what is happening at the swamp here in Washington, D.C. And we need people to hold crazy people like John Brennan accountable. Let's play that clip again, Rich, of John Brennan, just so everybody.
And it brings together an unholy alliance frequently of
muckers, buggerers,
religious extremists, authoritarians,
bushwhackers, hornswagglers,
fascists, bigots,
horse thieves, bulldykes,
racists, nativists,
train robbers, bank robbers, ass kickers, shit kickers,
even libertarians,
and Methodists.
Could you repeat that, sir?
It's the greatest. It's the greatest montage ever. But listen to what John Brennan is saying. He literally was accusing everyone in his commentary without the added, fun stuff from Blazing Saddles. But he was actually accusing anybody who supported President Trump or thought differently than the elitist establishment. He's accusing them of being like some kind of anti-American, crazed terrorist, right? I mean, this is really what the CIA director, former CIA director, was saying. He hated President Trump that much. And now we're seeing that. We're seeing this type of, again, it wasn't about President Trump. Let me just make this clear. He did hate President Trump, but what he hated was the American people, the populist, right, movement, the people that said, we're so sick of this elitist establishment that we are going to try it out. We're going to vote for President Trump because we don't want the swamp anymore. And the swamp just went berserk. They lost themselves. They still are. They're doing everything they can. The reason why they have been slightly more successful, and the reason I say this is because we've seen how they've basically usurped the media. They've taken control of the media. They've taken control of our institutions, for the most part, our higher education, our institutions of higher education. They've got all their leftist, elitist, swamp-dwelling creatures in there teaching our children to hate this country. The reason that's why they're able to do that. That's why they've been a little bit more successful. So it's up to us to really call them out on it. It's up to us to hold them accountable. It's up to us to teach our children how extraordinary and wonderful this nation is. And look, this is not just me saying this, right? I'm not just saying this. I know you feel it too. When you go out on the 4th of July and you're having, a barbecue with your family and friends, or when you go to a hospital like Tiffany and I did, and our husbands are in a bed, we don't know if they're ever going to come out of it. We don't know if they're going to live. They've lost their eyesight, and a nurse walks up or a doctor and comforts us, and we get the best treatment and the best care, and families are able to speak out loud and talk and fight for our husbands' rights, which you can't do in other countries. You're not going to do that, not even in Canada, not even in England. where you don't have the same systems, where we can hold people accountable and we can find support. We are the most giving nation on planet Earth by far. We give so much, even when there's flooding in another country, or, we saw what happened in Thailand, with the tsunamis or whatever. There is a natural disaster on planet Earth. The American people, you and I, we are the first to open our pocketbooks and say, here, all I have is $5. Here, I have $2,000. Here, let me help you out. We do that all the time. Stop letting these crazy lawmakers, these divisive, unholy alliance, like John Brennan likes to say, tell you anything different. They are so negative and so nasty, and they just want to tear this nation up. And if we feed into that, and if we allow them, then we will lose our nation. I promise you that. But if we stand up, if we put people in office that literally care about us, people that believe in this country, that do not want to fundamentally change this country, but want to make it better with what it already has. The greatest piece of paper on planet Earth, the greatest idea is that Constitution. That's it. I am so grateful and proud to be an American. I am frustrated sometimes. It's a fight worth fighting, though, folks. It's a fight worth fighting. We have to be willing to do that. We can't be afraid to stand up and to speak out. We cannot be afraid to do that. And I know we aren't. I know all is not lost. I know that when I go through an airport and I see people and you come up and you're like, thank you so much for what you do. And I thank you for what you do. And we're all talking and, and I feel that great American spirit. And I feel proud. I feel proud. So whenever anybody tells me, all hope is lost, I'm going to try to swing them back. I'm going to tell them, you know what? It isn't lost. We have a lot to fight for. We have an FBI that's completely lost its mind. Department of Justice, yes, that doesn't feel like it's ever delivering justice. But we have a Constitution. And we have a nation made up of some really incredible people. Incredible people that are willing to stand up, willing to fight, willing to give, willing to believe. And for that, I am grateful. Thank you so much for being a part of the Sara Carter Show. Let's all give Tiffany Smiley some support. Get out there. Go to her website, smileyforwashington.com. That's smileyforwashington.com. And while you're cruising the internet, go to saraacarter.com. That's saraacarter.com. Sign up for my newsletter. That way, you will never be shadow banned. I promise you, I will get an email to you and keep you apprised of all the latest developments. And I'll see you soon from California. I'm going to be there doing the Sean Hannity show on a big story that I've been working on. I'm looking forward to bringing that to you. And I'm looking forward to a great week ahead, a long fight ahead, but we can do it, guys. We can make it happen. Thank you so much. God bless America. God bless you. And thank you so much for being a part of the Sara Carter Show, because right here, we are taking the story back.
Hi, it's Dana Lash, host of The Dana Show. Every day, I'm here to keep you up to speed on the most important stories and info that you need to know in your very busy life. And if you're always on the go and you want to stay connected, just download our daily podcast and take it with you. It's a great way to get up to speed on what you need to know and what legacy media may not be telling you. Visit danaradio.com and click on the podcast link or subscribe at iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your favorite podcasts.